Welcome back to the channel. Today's video is designed to try and help you improve your heavy weapon selection. We're going to go over a little bit of the hip fire, maybe show a little ADS just to contrast what's going on there. But I'm hoping that by watching this, you'll have a better understanding of why or why not you're making your shots mid-game, and every shot counts. So let's just jump right in. Alright, let's take a look at this 30-30 here. You guys know that I've grown a lot with this gun, and I really appreciate the damage it can output. It does quite a bit of damage at range there, and I mean, it can be super accurate even with its standard sights. I am using my gold mag for this just so we can get through some shots faster instead of, taking a ton of time. But here we got hip fire right from this range. Not bad, as long as you can put that center dot right on the dummy. You're pretty good, right? The capabilities of the gun is reasonably high. I mean, kind of close to a 50-50 there if you're going to make it. That's why you kind of see one of these to increase your accuracy just a little bit, one of those like little snap ADSs. I think that's perfectly fine practice if you're able to do that. That definitely helps. Once you get a little closer though, you don't really have to do that as much because you can just hit them still. I mean, even with a little bit of movement added in there, you still got a pretty high chance of getting them. So it's more of a aiming issue than is the gun capable of making this shot. And for a long time, I thought the gun was not capable of making the hits. And obviously this video is to help disprove that and make myself get better and know that it's me, not the gun. Of course, top of the ramp here, every shot's gonna hit. It's just a really accurate gun. Yet again, the gun is accurate. I might have some improvement I can do. And then just moving up even closer here, you've got movement and shots, and most of them are hitting. So at this distance, even though it might not feel like it should be hitting, it definitely can hit every time. Moving right along, I want to look at the car next. So the car is a weapon underappreciated by myself. That seems to be the case whenever they come out and they're new. I thought it was wildly inaccurate and just not very user-friendly. But you can see back here, we did a 50 damage string and then about a 70 damage string, and then just a little bit of ADS there just to reset the dummy, and then a full ADS burst, we're doing 130-ish, 120. So it's actually a lot more accurate than I believed it to be in the beginning. Maybe that's because they patched it and changed the accuracies, but definitely a lethal gun from this distance for it being a sub gun. And then if you start doing some of those burst fires that I really like doing with the sub guns, it becomes incredibly dangerous to your opponents. Moving up a little bit here, just onto the back of the platform, let's see if it holds true on only about 50 damage on the hip fire, and that's not the case. It does a little bit over 100 damage pretty consistently there. Of course, ADS, you're quite lethal, again using a gold mag just so we can get through some of the rounds a little bit faster. Burst fire doesn't really work that well. Hip firing this gun, I don't know why, it just is not my favorite. I'd rather just do a single string of fire, so maybe it's me, but go check it out for yourself. Let me know in the comments if burst fire or just solid strings work for you. ADS burst fire is wonderful with this gun, by the way. It's just the hip fire that I don't like doing the burst with. No real surprises here. I mean, if it's, that lethal from back of the platform, once you get up close, of course, ADS, you're going to be able to just slug those rounds wherever you want. And hip firing, even with movement, you're putting a lot of rounds on them, doing a lot of damage, really trying to make them, put them on their heels so you or their teammate can push and finish them off. Rampart special right here. It's a pretty neat gun, kind of. in terms of light machine guns, I mean, it's like a weak Spitfire in my opinion. It is a heavy damage dealing gun. Yep, it is. But the issue I have with it is that I mean, okay, so most guns from back here, hip firing, you get like 50 rounds for a whole mag. But you're hitting most of those rounds because you can put your rounds on target. This gun, it's just completely different. You have a 40 round mag and it took 36 rounds there to down the target, with each one of them doing 26. It should only take 8, 9 if you miss, 10 if you miss a couple. But the accuracy just is so bad. I'm trying a little like strafing thing there, just ignore that. I'm not very good at it, so it was just an attempt to try and improve accuracy. But I mean, even moving up here, you're still looking at using, yep, pretty much the whole mag. I think it was down to like 3 or 4 before I downed that dummy. So the accuracy just doesn't make it possible to get those good hits, and the other guns you have a much higher chance of actually hitting what you're aiming at. And aim is one of the biggest things, like movement and aim in Apex, right? So I just don't have a lot of good things to say about this gun, and maybe I just am using it completely wrong. ADS, great gun. I mean, you can like put those shots on target super easy, really damage dealing that way, but like hip firing, like not a gun I like thinking about. One thing I do want to note is I'm not using the thermites here because I am just looking at the base weapon, not upgraded. That's why I'm only using a gold mag and not like stabilizers. So on this string of fire here, you can see that, well, I'm sorry, this one here, you can see that it's going to take about 5 seconds to down this person. When you're comparing that against other guns, right, like the 99, we had a recorded less than 1 second down. The distance was a little bit closer than this, and it was an ADS, not a hip fire. But I mean, when you're just looking at, is this an effective gun, this is one of the reasons that I really just don't really like hip firing with it at all. So finally, we actually have some accuracy up this close, and that's where I would use it, and only place I would use hipfire with that gun. The capabilities just aren't really there. I just think it's worth having all the time. Unless I got like a pretty good setup, I'm probably going to pick a Prowler over a lot of other guns. You can see 5-round burst, and even from out here, hip firing, you're gonna hit 2 or 3 of those just hip firing. ADS, obviously, it really manages that recoil for you, and it's pretty easy. I'm missing most of those shots because I think I'm aiming about shoulders. If you aim about hips at this distance, you're gonna have a couple more of those rounds hit a little bit easier. So that's just a little bit of knowing your weapon and recoil control. The capabilities of the gun, though, are pretty excellent even at this distance. Moving up here, you're looking at some of the same wonders, if you will. It's a good gun, right? So your ADS, you're just going to annihilate them if you get that opportunity like that. Your hip firing, you're going to also just have an excellent time with this gun. I highly recommend picking it up. One of the reasons that it's so great to be able to use is its recoil pattern is basically vertical. I mean, look at that. It just goes straight up, and so whenever you're aiming at their hips like that and you just let it ride with no recoil control at all, you're just easily doing 50 to 70 damage just letting it do the work for you. You put a little recoil control on there and you're landing, even 3 or 4 of the 5 hits if you're good, 5 of 5. It really puts a hurting on your enemies. A couple bursts and they're pretty much done. Even closer, ADS, okay, yep, works great. That's going to do it for today's video. I wanted to divide the heavy guns into 2, so check that one out to finish off those. I hope that you learned something about a weapon that you might use, or maybe it'll help you select your weapon next, and we'll see you next time.